let's go.
I did a bit of a thing on Sancho because obviously we've been interested in him before the deadline day. I think it was something that we were actively trying to do, obviously, and it just became available properly on deadline day. So I did a feature on him, and he did okay at Chelsea, and he played in fits and starts, I think, but I'm excited to see what he can do, and I agree with Emery's kingdom. If anyone can get the best out of him, then it's Unai Emery, and maybe it will be good for him to have a set structure and a particular way of playing and real sort of tight guidelines of how to operate, because maybe he needs that to kind of flourish. But in my opinion, I don't know what he's actually. I don't know what he does. I don't know what he's actually brilliant at. Like you've said there yourself, he isn't particularly quick. He doesn't assist a lot. He doesn't score a lot. He can beat a man. Don't get me wrong. He's a pretty good dribbler of the ball. Whenever I've seen him, I've been worried and concerned about his body language, about the way that he approaches the game. I always look at players when this is what I used to not like about Jaden Philogene. Every time he stepped onto the pitch, his sleeves were over his hands and his shoulders were hunched like this. And this is exactly the impression I get from Jaden Sancho. So you want to be particularly as a winger, tracking back. As a winger, you've got to portray that you're the best player on the pitch. You are going to beat your fullback every time. And if I was a defender, if I was a fullback and I saw Sancho coming onto the pitch like that, I'll be like, as soon as I smash into him, he doesn't want to know. And that's what you've got to show as a player. So I want to see like a real confident and firing Jaden Sancho, of course. But I need, not that he cares, but I want to be convinced that he's actually a good player. Because I'm not convinced. I've seen like flashes. I've seen, to me, he's like a FIFA player. If you do a couple of combinations on FIFA, you do like a couple of step overs and a drag back, and you haven't actually gone around the player. You've just shown a few tricks and skills that you can do. That's what I see with Jaden Sancho. I want to see him like go after people, beat them, like go at a real pace, and actually show that you want to be a top class player. Because I am yet to see it.
I think as well with Jaden Sancho is he obviously has the ability like to take on a man and to do special things. It's the reason that he got such notoriety so early on in his career, and that move from Man City to Dortmund, and he was doing incredible things. It's not that he doesn't have it in him, and I know that Kevin's saying that he's miles better than Philogene, but
that's not the point I'm making. I know he's miles better. I'm talking about body language and how approach the game. Yeah.
And the other thing is there was someone mentioned this on Twitter and said, if anyone's going to get Sancho back to his best, it's Emery. And I replied to their post and said, Emery's got 15 other players that he needs to get back to their best. Can we not not every player can be a work in progress. Not everyone can be underperforming. And I mean, look at that squad and everyone who played against Palace, like who's playing at their best? Anyone. I'll take one name. No one's playing at their best. So Emery doesn't just have to lift Jaden Sancho now. He has to get the best out of everyone. And at some point, it's going to be too much to do. You can't revive 16 players' career at one time. And I'm not being dramatic about that. Not people's careers aren't over in shambles, but he needs to get Ollie Watkins firing again. He needs to get Tielemans back on his creative side. He needs to teach Matty Cash how to pass the ball 5 yards. He's got Martinez, who's in absolute disarray. I don't know what is going on with him, what he's going to do, whether he's going to be reintegrated. He's got Ezri Konsa, who's as out form at Villa as he's ever been, and you go on and on Maatsen, who he needs to teach, elements of the game because he's still so young. Gassan is new. He needs to teach him. It's so many players. Anana, not at his best. Kamara not at his best. Wendy has been exiled. It's like it's just so much for him to do, and he has to work on all these players at one time. And I wonder if it wouldn't have just been better to bring someone in who's flying high, someone who's confident, someone who. And I know that we're restricted, and we're talking about in theory, but even just someone who's like just been doing well. And I think that's probably Harvey Elliott. He's someone who's confident. He's been performing well. He's not really in down in the dumps. But it's just a lot.
If anyone's read Jacob Tanswell's article, it is very interesting because it almost points to a slight change in Emery's thought process in that he now wants players who are ready-made and can go straight into the first team. So it does kind of put a stop to this rough diamond sort of player who's young. I think Harvey Elliott does fit that bill, to be fair, but you look at these loan players, you look at what he was trying to do, bringing Marco Asensio in, like worked so hard to get him, worked hard to get Lucas Paqueta in and has liked him for a long time. He's moving more towards wanting players that can just jump into the first team straight away, and maybe slightly away from the 20, 21-year-old who's had a bit of experience and wants to be polished into the finer product.
But again, it's the wrong. I keep saying this. It's the wrong mentality, in my opinion. I'm not gonna say I know more than Unai Emery about this, and maybe it's because of the limited amount of options. But that's not how transfers should work. It needs to be a mix. You need to mix youth and experience. You need to buy exciting prospects who you believe can push on. You need to blend that in with more experienced players who are more established and can jump straight into the first team. Why is it one or the other? Why is it one or the other? Go and sign a John Duran, but also sign a Tielemans in the same year. Do you know what I mean? Like sign someone who's established, but sign someone who's got potential. Like this, it's the same thing when we talk about Emery's formation. Like, we play this way. Well, yeah, but sometimes that's okay. But sometimes it's okay to play another way, and it's the same with transfers. It can't just be one transfer policy. It's more nuanced than that. Surely he's not just going not more signing any more youngsters, only signing established players. There's got to be a balance, and you look at any club in the world, like even Arsenal. Look at what Arsenal do now, integrating Max Holloway, and they're buying Gyökeres, and they're buying younger players and more established players, and it's a blend, and that's how you succeed, and that's how you balance the books, and it doesn't. I think the worry is that none of this seems particularly well thought out. I don't know what you feel, but I just get the Sancho signing on the last day, and the fact that we went for Paqueta and didn't get him, and then got Harvey Elliott, kind of seems like, and it's on the last day of the transfer window as well. Like I get until the end of July when we couldn't spend anything because we need to balance the books and submit our financials, but it kind of all seems a bit last minute, a bit panicky, and a bit who can we get through the door, and I know that our hands are tied. I know it is, but there has to be an element of mismanagement here, no?
Sharik said Max Holloway at Arsenal. It's Max Dowman.
What's his name?
Max Dowman.
Whatever his name is. Yeah. He's 15. Look,
I think Rob's saying we're so negative. Look, we're not negative. We're saying that they're good signings, right? Sancho's a good signing, and Elliott, I'm really excited about. I think he's a really good signing. You have to say what you're seeing at the moment, right? We're not playing very well. We've had players who've been kind of forced to be sold, if we're to believe what Jacob Tanswell written in Jacob Ramsey, and we've had players that have wanted to be leaving since January. So there has been some issues that aren't quite right in the team, right? And our hands have been tied by PSR, SCR, this other rule, financial constraints rule that UEFA have put in, so which is more strict than the PSR. So I understand all of that, right? And Damien Vidagani put a really nice, good post out, thanking the recruitment staff and saying how hard they've worked. However, like you said, Sam, there has to be a bit of accountability on their part in terms of moving players on or not moving players on when they maybe should have done, or not being able to bring in players that they've been able to do. You have to, in every situation, you have to look at yourself first. You can't just say, "Oh, well, that's happened because it was something else." You've got to look at they're paid a lot of money to do this job. It's not like you just, "Oh yeah, it's fine. Just get on with it." You've got to look at what you haven't done and how you can do it better. So that's all I'm saying. And yeah, I agree with you. Right at the start of the transfer window, they wouldn't have had signing Victor Lindelof on a free transfer as their number one choice. Otherwise, they would have done it straight away. You know, I get you. There's a bit of waiting around by players and agents to see what other offers come in, but ultimately, the right back situation, a right-footed centre back situation. Yes, it's been plugged. The gap has been plugged with Victor Lindelof, but it's not the ideal signing. A pacey winger. Yes, we've got Jaden Sancho who has other skill set. I absolutely agree, but we haven't got another striker. Like there's parts of the and that might be able to be solved in January, right? But I'm just saying what I'm seeing right now, and there's still slight issues that I'm concerned about. You can say that's negative or not. I like the players; they're good players, but there's I don't like. There's still parts of it. I want to see how they would fit in. I want to know, like, is Sancho purely going to play off the left? So what then does that mean for Gesson? Where's he going to play? Where is Harvey Elliott going to play? Is he going to link up with Morgan Rogers as the two number 10s? In which case, is Gesson going to be the support striker for Ollie Watkins? What does that do for Daniel Marlon? It's, what do you see? Where do you see them fitting in? And Shaz said we should have signed Max Holloway.
He's made another good point as well. We talk about disorganization, things just not feeling right. Why has Elliot got the number 9?
Yeah,
that bothers me. The game's gone. Like, why is a central midfielder wearing the number 9?
Yeah,
not for me. I don't know where they fit in. I think, is it one of those things where we brought in what we can and then we see how they fit in later, or I think the people are saying,
yeah, is it like competition and just yeah, hopefully refreshing it will bring more out of Morgan Rogers, more out of.
But can you spend 160 grand a week in our position on competition, right? Like you spend that kind of money on a player, they need to come in and be the star player and need to build your team around them, and it doesn't seem like a competition signing. And I think people have said, well, we were restricted, we have to wait to see who we sold and this and that, but did we have to wait until deadline day? Deadline day with like not a massive idea of who we were signing, who we weren't. Like, Sancho wasn't linked at all until like the day before, when the Martinez news started coming out, and I think that's when we first heard about it. So, I mean, look, it is what it is, and to mirror a lot of the comments that we've got in the chat, I'm just glad it's over. Like, yeah. I'm so glad that the transfer window was closed and we could just focus and say, look, this is what we've got now. No more incomings, no more outgoings, bar Emi Martinez going to Saudi Arabia or something like that, for the windows that are still open. But it's one of those where this is our squad now, and we're going to have to take that and do the best that we can with it. And that is refreshing, and that is good to know. And it's one of those, it's kind of a cliche to say, whoever's in is in, and we now have to back them. And Jaden Sancho, like I've got reservations about him. I don't know if he's going to work out or not, but I'm going to back him the same that we did with Rashford.